Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Top Rope Podcast. Yeah, what do we want to talk about? It's our week in review. We're breaking down Raw, NXT, Dynamite, TNA, and SmackDown. Didn't get a chance to watch Rampage or Collision this week, so we will omit them from the records, but I'm going to give you my favorite show of the week, my favorite matches of the week, promos, top 3 moments overall in the week of wrestling. We'll get into my men's and women's factions, tag teams, top 10s coming up later as well. But I want to know what you guys think. What was your favorite match of the week, moment of the week? What did you think about the week as a whole? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit like, follow, subscribe, all that good jazz. Let's get into it. I thought this was a much better week in wrestling. Last week, I graded the week as a C. This week, man, there were 3 shows that I really, really liked. It helped that Dynamite was a Grand Slam special edition, and it helped that we're getting closer and closer to Bad Blood. Definitely helped out Raw and SmackDown this week as the build continues to get more and more hyped up. I'm going A- this week overall in wrestling. Talking about Monday Night Raw. It was Liv and Dom being interrupted by Rhea. I thought it was some strong stuff from Miami. Dom where he should be, behind bars, says Rhea Ripley. As soon as she said that, man, I popped hard. I was like, yes, we're going to get Dom hanging in a shark cage. And then she spells that all out for us. I loved it. Loved the segment. Good way to start the week, giving it an A. We get Sami Zayn, Ludwig Kaiser, our first match of the week, and it was a good match. I thought it showcased both men nicely. Zayn with a haluva kick for the win. Gunther comes out. He's trying to bait us into thinking he was finally going to say yes to Sami Zayn, give him a title shot, but then he still says no. It was good. It wasn't super popping, but it was popping. I'm going to give it a B. Get the New Day backstage. Just great dynamics right now with the New Day. Very invested into everything going on with them, and I haven't been able to say that for a long, long time. So I'm pumped about it. You know, got Kofi bringing out the old stuff. Not what Xavier meant, though, huh? Kofi says Xavier can call the shots. You know, no, don't want the trombone. Nope. We don't need Bootios. Not hungry. Nope. Xavier says none of that stuff. He wants to call the shots. Kofi's going to let him do that. American Made interrupts the backstage. They trade some jabs, sets up a match. Good stuff. The New Day 20-year anniversary coming up in November. Man, that would be the absolute perfect time for Xavier Woods to turn on Kofi, or who knows? Maybe they're going to swerve us. Could it be Kofi who ends up turning on Xavier? I'm into it. Either way, I think money in the long term, no offense to Xavier, but Kofi is the bigger star there. So how much does you could argue then, well, the heel turn for Xavier could really set him up, send him get him to the next level. But I don't know. If you turn him heel, then he has a rivalry with Kofi. Like, what are we doing with him after that? But Kofi, I mean, he screams babyface. He's been a great babyface for a long, long time. But I've been more interested to see what he could possibly do as a heel than Xavier Woods. But either way, yeah, I'm into it, man. I give that backstage segment an A. Had Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Dragon Lee. He's just got a cool intro, man, and his gear looks cool. He does look like the future, like Ray said. More and more. His ending move, it could have been a little bit better, but it wasn't bad. It just didn't pop it off totally, with the match being a pretty good match, and then, I don't know, the ending just fell just a hair flat. But overall, not too shabby. LWO Judgment Day getting involved in this naturally. Ray got a big pop when he came from the crowd, giving that a B-. We were supposed to get The Miz versus Bronson Reed. Well, that never happened. And that is totally fine, because Braun Strowman interferes before the bell. We saw Reed attack Strowman backstage to start the show, threading that together with Dom and Liv coming out. And then they're walking in and like, oh, we got to get out of the way here. These guys are brawling. I love the threading of the stories on Raw. I'm going to get into that more in a minute. But these guys battling it again with Strowman with the attack. So no match. Tsunami to security. Oh, my goodness. Then we get a double clothesline. I think these guys, I think they set it up. They're going to have a match next week on Raw. This to me is like a pay-per-view worthy match in my eyes. I think they could do it at Bad Blood. But, man, they're making these weekly television shows really off the chain, and man, Raw, that's going to be one heck of a battle next week. Just thinking, whenever that happens, though, the ring's got to break. Like, that's the main event of Raw. I mean, it is, and so yeah, I mean, if the ring's going to break, you're going to have to make it be the main event. You're not going to be able to put the ring back together in 5 minutes before the next promo or match. But in this brawl here, Strowman goes for the superplex. I'm thinking, oh, shoot, maybe they're going to break it right here. But then security breaks him up again. They destroy security some more. Good stuff, man. I don't always believe when wrestlers just keep breaking through like 10, 15, 20 security guards. I'm just like, really? Come on. Surely these security guards, as incompetent as they might be, they can hold these guys back. Give me a break. But when they do it with two monsters like Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, believable. I loved it. And like I said, later Pierce does announce we're going to get a last monster standing for Raw next week. Let's freaking go. Give that an A. Drew McIntyre promo. It was good, but not as good as CM Punk's the week before, going B+. Said a lot of the same stuff that Punk did, but in a different way. It didn't make me any less excited or really any more excited. I'm already pumped again for their Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. It does feel like this definitely needs to be the end of it. It's been the best story going as far as a rivalry between just two men that we've had all year long, but it does feel like it probably should come to an end at Bad Blood in the Cell. Still recapping Raw here. Damage Control versus the Unholy Union. Tell you what, man, I'm more and more into Io Sky now than I ever was whenever she was champion. Still not sure why exactly I'm supposed to cheer Damage Control, but I want to. And I'm not the only one. Crowd firmly behind them. I'm into them too. This was a solid match, going B+. And Damage Control, I don't know. Are they actually a credible threat to the women's tag titles held by Jade and Bianca? Like, man, I don't know. If we get the other, like Nia and Tiffany and Bayley and Naomi, keep them together as actual tag teams. I know they're doing other stuff, but we might actually have a decent women's tag division going if you throw all those teams in for the mix. And nothing against Unholy Union. They're fine, but they're firmly in the mid-card. But, this was a pretty good little match, man. I think I said B+. It was over-delivered for sure. We got New Day versus American Made. Xavier Woods. His anger cost his team. This was smart booking, furthering the story very well, giving it a B. We had a Damian Priest vignette, says, I am my brother's keeper. He is, Finn is not. Told the story of Finn's jealousy. I really liked it. Give it an A-, and that brings us to our main event and a candidate for match of the week. the Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker versus Yeet Jey Uso. Jey never ever has won a singles title in his career until Monday night. And as far as the match goes, a little slow pace at times, but not in a bad way. Breaker, it picked up. Breaker flying from the ring apron onto the announce table was solid. We had the crowd chanting something that I don't think I've ever heard before. And that was all night long. All night long. All night long. Do believe that's what they were chanting. New one for me. I like it. I like it a lot. And then we do get some "This is awesome" chants later on. Breaker, it's Frankensteiner. Incredible, man. We get another "This is awesome" chance after another all night long prior to that move. And a spear on the outside, but Uso counters inside with a spear. Then the Uso splash. So damn close. Braun so good at kicking out for incredible false finishes. You rarely, if ever, see him looking at the ref. That's stuff that I look at that separates the good from the great. And Braun Breaker's next level, man. You get an Uso spear through the barrier. That brings on some holy shit chants. And then an Uso spear again. He wins it, baby. Wow. A+ for this match. I was shocked. I didn't think they would take the title off of Braun Breaker this soon. But I'm okay with it, man. I'm absolutely fine with it. Jey Uso deserves the Intercontinental Championship. And that, to me, is going to set up Braun Breaker like he's not a mid-carder. He's not a mid-carder. He's main event level, man. So do we get Braun Breaker and Gunther maybe sooner rather than later? We shall see. Super happy for Jey, though, winning his first singles title. And I got to say, we're going to get to it later with everything that happened on SmackDown, but you get Jey winning that Intercontinental Championship. Like, I don't think that that's the direction now we're going, at least not right now, with bringing the old bloodline back together. Looks to me like we might get a super babyface team at War Games come November in Vancouver, I do believe. Get into more of that when we talk about SmackDown, but my top 3 Monday Night Raw moments: Jey winning the title, abso-freaking-lutely. Bronson and Braun brawl for a third time, and then Liv and Dom being interrupted by Rhea. Really liked what I saw out of Rhea Ripley. Overall, another great Raw. They continue to thread stories throughout, mixing and mingling. Everything has meaning. A- for Monday Night Raw. And oh boy, let's get into NXT. I like to focus on the positive, so we're going to probably roll through this relatively quickly. NXT, we get the Women's North American Championships, Kalani Jordan versus Ren Sinclair. This was okay, but not memorable. Sadly, it was probably the best match, if not the best thing on the show, and I'm only going to give it a C+. NXT just, They needed a good show here last show on USA. Going to move over to the CW network. Ouch. They left USA with a stinker, man. They tried to mix in the press conference stuff, and kudos to them for trying new things. I appreciate that when people aren't afraid to fail, and they like, all right, let's give this a try. Throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let's do something else. And the NXT, kind of the platform, I guess, you can maybe do those type of things. So they tried the press conference stuff with Ethan Page and others throughout the night. I'm going to go ahead and grade the whole thing as a whole, minus the final part in the ring to end the show with the women. I don't know, man. It just didn't seem like a real press conference. Some weren't bad, but it just didn't do much for me. If it's a press conference, we never should have got like side camera angles and stuff. Just give me the one main shot. It's a press conference. That's it. That's all we need. And, press conferences shouldn't be in the middle of the show. Like, fine, you're doing them the day before a pay-per-view or something, or after a pay-per-view. That works. I don't need it as part of my storylines in the middle of the show. No good. C- for all that stuff. We get CM Punk backstage. Who was he with? I can't remember. I know he was with Sol Ruca at some point. I think he was with somebody else here. I can't read my notes. I forgot. It was with Trick Williams. Yeah, it was with Trick Williams. Give Trick Willie a little CM Punk rub. I guess it's okay. It was okay. Punk talking Trick up, but then he says he's going to call it down the middle. Trick Williams and Ethan Page. Seen him do that later with Ethan Page. I don't know. C+. Grayson Waller effect with Theory co-hosting. Guests are Axiom and Fraser, the NXT Tag Team Champions. Two teams that will fight for the titles in 2 weeks. Waller and Theory, pretty funny, entertaining here. Axiom and Fraser want them to change the name of Waller's show. And Theory agrees, but then Waller takes a cheap shot at the Tag Team Champions, takes them down. Waller and Theory stand tall holding the titles. We'll see if they can win it in 2 weeks. I wouldn't hate that. And, you could argue this is probably maybe one of the better things in the show. Set up more dissension between Waller and Theory. Adds a layer. Yeah, I liked it. I'll give it a B-. Hank and Tank get a win over Gallows and Anderson, I think it was. I don't know. I barely watched it. I clicked right on through that. Sad to say. Just not interested in it. No grade since I clicked through it. Lexus King or Mensa. Lexus's intro was great. I wish they would push him more. He's stuck firmly on the mid to lower card in WWE's minor leagues. I wish more for him, man. Instead, he loses to freaking Oramensa, C-. We get the Don and the family package. That's funny. The Don, Tony Dree training, decent B. Ridge and Riley. Ridge wins, then destroys Riley. Like that. And that was match of the night so far. Give it a B, I guess. I don't know. Now that I'm going back looking at my grades, I don't guess it was as horrible as I thought. It was pretty bad, though. Wesley, Zach Wentz. Split screen backstage sit-down interview. Supposed to be live, but as they are waiting, they start trading jabs. We see this after we come back from a commercial break, and they showed us what happened during the commercial break, trading jabs at each other, dropping some bleeped out F-bombs. Very intense. I like the creativity of all this. Eventually, they end up leaving their spots, finding each other, brawling. I'm into this rivalry and story. This is actually not too shabby here. Going to give that an A-. Women's tag match, Rosemary and Wendy versus Petrovich and Reese. Petrovich's sword gimmicks, it's very generic, man. But Wendy and Rosemary's gimmicks are both great, along with their entrance. I love them being paired together. And as the match is getting started, I'm thinking, man, please, for the love of gosh, please let Rosemary and Chu win. They shouldn't be losing that much, but they have been. And, well, yes, with a little distraction by Ashanti Adonis and Petrovich going outside the ring, Wendy and Rosemary do pick up the win. Good deal. C+. CM Punk backstage for about 2 seconds with Sol Ruca. Really? That's all we get from Sol Ruca the last 2 weeks, if I do recall. Come on, man. Ethan Page interrupts. Page says Punk is drama. Punk says again he's going to call it fair. Too repetitive from what he said to Trick Willie. C+. Alexander and Evans versus A-Town Down Under. This is a pretty entertaining match. Match of the night, perhaps. B+. Axiom and Fraser get involved accidentally, costing the faces in this one. Waller and Theory pick up the win. B+. B+ for that. Decent selling. I like the way it was booked. Both teams pretty much in syncs. And John Evans is super fun to watch, man. So talented for his age. But then maybe it was just, a lot of times you say it's the last thing you remember. Well, the last thing on this show that I remember was absolute dog poo-poo. NXT Women's In-Ring Press Conference. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Roxanne and Julia I'll say a few positive things about it. I loved Roxanne's facial expressions during this. She's getting really comfortable now being a heel. But Julia, speaking another language and having a translator, so wonky, man. Have a press conference with someone who doesn't even speak English, and they have that as your final segment. Just a very odd booking choice. I mean, Funaki, God bless him, he's cool, but this was so dumb. He already had the answers written out. There's no translation going on there. And it just, too much in between. Too much non-English in between. And then translating just in monotone. Crowd's not going to pop for that. Major disconnect. And then and the words are on the screen. It's just not believable, man. The crowd pretty dead throughout, as they should be. A frickin' press conference. Get cardinal rule. And there's no cheering in press conferences. I've been to many. I ask questions. They ask questions like a real press conference. But then Roxanne answers like she's cutting a frickin' promo. Of course. But this was all just very, very weird. I did like Julia's eyes and demeanor. We get Stephanie Vacour showing up on screen with a question. Oh, she's a reporter now. She's got a question. Kind of cool, but this whole thing fell flat as a pancake, man. No butter, no syrup, not even a fork. I hate to do it, but I'm going to grade the main event, if you call it that, press conference, the two women, championship match, Perez, Julia, an F. I got to go F. That might be the first F I've ever gave, but it was absolutely terrible. Top 3 NXT moments. The men's tag match, Ridge and Riley, Wes Lee and Zach Wentz, War of Words and Brawl. Overall grade, well, wasn't as bad as the week before, but it wasn't that much better. I'm going D+. Let's move on to more exciting, happier things. And that was Dynamite Grand Slam from Arthur Ashe Stadium. First off, so happy to hear JR right out of the gate. Sometimes lately I've heard him and I've been kind of like, oh gosh, he doesn't sound good. Man, I hope he's okay. Like, is this the best thing to be having him on here right now? I didn't think that this time. He sounded a lot better than the last time I heard him, and I was so thankful for that. God bless him. Love him so much. He adds so much to it when he's at, he's not going to be at the top of his game. He's not in his prime anymore, but he can still do a very good job. He did a very good job here. Always love to hear his voice. We get Bryan Danielson, Nigel McGuinness right out of the freaking gate. Wow. We didn't know Bryan Danielson at first, so then a 10 count, which didn't make a whole lot of sense, if I'm being honest. You didn't have the guy come out, didn't have him actually in the ring. Match can't start. But they get into counting to 10, get the final count down, and a pretty big pop. Bryan Danielson comes out, started a little slow, but picked up nicely. Crowd started feeling it more and more as the match went on. Some more ebb and flow. It was a well-wrestled match by both men. I thought Nigel could have landed some of his punches a little bit harder, not always believable at times. But that Tower of London by Nigel McGuinness off the top, awesome. Eventually, Bryan Danielson does prevail with a submission. This was good, but I don't think it lived up to expectations. And that was probably just because the build to it wasn't spectacular. And because even though I did watch some, for me, this is a personal thing here, for me, Ring of Honor, like I watched some of it, but I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I didn't know about their rivalry before, so I couldn't tie in the history there. I felt the history in the moment though, whenever they're getting, I think they got This Is Awesome chance before the match even began, and some loud pops and everything. But I don't know, I think I would have flipped this match and Darby and Mox around, had them lead off the show, and Bryan Danielson and Nigel in the show. They could have threaded a story throughout the show leading up to that. Is Bryan Danielson going to be there? Is he there? Is he not there? What's going on? But at the same time, when I saw this, that it was going to be first, I was like, oh, cool. Let's go. Set the tone for the night. At the end, they bleep out Nigel saying F you, but the announcer said he said thank you. No, I don't believe he did, because the audio cut out a few other times, and I think it was because of people were cussing. Sounds weird, though, the way AEW does it, doesn't it? It's not good. It's not good. I mean, I don't like hearing WWE doing it, and you just can't hear anybody. But, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with AEW, I think. I think they're like talking about maybe getting a deal with Fox. They're toning down on some of the cussing and everything, really trying to get their ducks in a row. And how much would that hurt AEW, though, if that happens, man? Like from the, people like the hardcoreness, the more edgier PG-13 plus content of AEW. I mean, I like now that WWE has shifted just a little bit away from PG, but to me, guys, it's always towing that fine line. We want to still be able to have kids come to the show, but we don't want it to be so corny that the adults aren't liking it. So it's that fine line. And AEW is going to have to toe that line even more if they go to Fox. We shall see. Just a rumor I heard. I didn't really read much into it. Where was I? I was talking about the audio stuff. Christian coming out after that. Looks like he might cash in his contract, but Kip Sabian steals the pin from him. Segment ends. Nice way to start the show. B+, FTW title, Hook and Roddy. Few good spots with the chair. It was okay, but this was all about what happened afterwards. After Hook retained, Roddy shook his hand. And I think this is the whole Undisputed Kingdom, whoever was out there, shook his hand. At the time, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. If Roddy is a bad guy, what are we going to do? Turn him face? That was odd. But then it all made sense after. Going C+ for the match, but Hook retiring the FTW Championship, giving the belt back to Taz. A very emotional moment. Taz tearing up. I got just a smidge of a tear in my own eyes. I'm giving that an A. It's a nominee for one of the top moments of the week. Next up on Dynamite, we have the tag team titles, United Kingdom, Ospreay and Fletcher versus the Young Bucks. Man, I wanted them to win so bad, but I was like, yeah, it's in the middle of the show. Knew that probably wasn't going to happen. We had some great false finishes. This was an epic battle. So many moves. Good storytelling with the finish, with the screwdriver. And, Fletcher was going to use it, but Ospreay stopped him from using it. It was the best thing on the show so far, and a nominee for match of the week. I wanted to see Fletcher and them win so bad because I want to see them more as a tag team. I've loved Kyle Fletcher for about a couple 2 months. He's really caught my eye of late. Not into the top 25 yet, but he might be able to get there if he keeps going. We'll see. But it's looking doubtful that they'll continue as a tag team. Some dissension now. And Don Callis and getting involved in everything. He's fine on commentary. He's a little distracting. I'd rather just be at ringside the whole time, just be a manager. Just my thoughts on that one. But given that match an A, they get Prince Nana coming out. He's doing his dance and stuff, swerving around a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, Swerve Strickland, he must be in good shape. Well, Nana says he's good mentally, but not physically. Then out of nowhere, MVP. Sweet, man. One of the best talkers in the game of all time. Top 50, top 100 at least. This was a nice, shocking moment. MVP blames Strickland's failures on Prince Nana. Selling coffee and dancing and not being serious. Nana. He gives a business card to Prince Nana and then says it's business at the end. Does he mean hurt business? Bobby Lashley? Are we going to see Bobby Lashley in AEW? That'd be cool. Sign me up. I give this an A. Just wasn't expecting it, man. That's what happens. Stay off the freaking dirt sheets, guys. I mean, if you're into it, cool. I'm kayfabe, man. I'm kayfabe. I'll talk about little rumors and stuff here and there if I accidentally hear something. Sure. For the most part, man, I don't want to know. I don't want to know who signed with who. Yada, yada, yeah. I'm out. Give me some surprises. Next up, women's title match, Dynamite, Mariah May versus, I hope I get this right, I forgot her last name, Sakazaki or something like that. Sorry, no offense. And no offense again, but I clicked through most of this. There's no build to it, man. I'm out. Stop booking Mariah May wrestling each week just for the sake of wrestling. And why is Sakazaki getting a title match? What has she done? Absolutely nothing that I've seen. No, I don't need to see Mariah May wrestling each week. Set her up a rivalry, and no, wait, here comes Willow. Then Mina. Now we're cooking. I don't know if we're cooking with peanut oil, but we're cooking. The match, D+, afterwards B. Main event, Jon Moxley versus Darby for Darby's title shot. This was a hell of a battle. They exposed the turnbuckle. And man, Darby's just so wild, man. He really should be just a hair more careful. Lucky he didn't break his neck on the bottom turnbuckle at one point in the match. This goes on and on, with crazier and crazier stuff. And to my point, crowd chanting, "You can't kill him." Talking about Darby Allin, "You can't kill him, you can't kill him." Towards the end, Darby gurgling, spitting out blood, because yes, of course, this was bloody because the match involved Jon Moxley. Darby spitting out blood as he makes his way to the rope. Crowd pops big. Darby looking for the superplex, but Marina interferes. Not really. She sets up a slight distraction. I thought she could have did a better job here. She didn't do much, but it was enough. Mox hits a Death Rider, wins it, kind of subdued it, just again, that's why I maybe would have reversed that booking around, because it was just kind of subdued after that. Give the match a B+. Things did pick up after that. BCC, Private Cardi, Commander, BCC saving Mox. Brian says he's going to kick Mox's effing head off at Wrestle Dream. Crowd popping hard with the yes chants, giving that an A-. Top 3 moments, tag team title match. Hook retires the FTW title. MVP debuts and a couple honorable mentions with the matches of Mox and Darby and Bryan Danielson and Nigel. That may be unpopular opinion there. If it is, tell me why I'm an idiot. Tell me why I'm an idiot in the comments. Tell me, hey, no, this was better. I want to hear. But I like trying to see all perspectives and see what people think, man. And like, okay, yeah, I see that. All right. Yeah, maybe changed my mind. No, maybe you didn't. Overall show for Dynamite, good matches, surprises. A little light on the promos, though, but I'm going A-. It's in the running. It's in the running for show of the week. Man, this is, all right. We'll do TNA. We get the women's tag to start off. Rosemary and Wendy Chu versus Jordan Grace. Oh, hey, Sol Ruca, you're in NXT, but you're getting more time on TNA. And, what's her name? Ariana Grace, the liaison between NXT and TNA, announced the mystery partner. First off, I did not realize that that's Santino's daughter. Grace, that is. She's kind of silly like her dad. Anyways, yeah, she announced that Sol Ruca was the mystery partner. I don't know. The match was fine. DQ, Tasha Steelz, Slamovich kind of put a damper on it. Sucked, but I get it. Overall C, Jordan Gresham, Laredo Kid, not in either one of these guys ever since Gresham took off his mask. I don't know. I just don't feel like they ever paid off that storyline. Didn't watch much of it. No grade. 6-man tag. Not really into 6-man tags unless they are superstar studding. Does that work? Superstar studding? Superstar laden? Whatever. I skipped most of it. Couple good high spots, though. I did see Zach Wentz, ABC, beat Bailey Kushida and Leon Slater, but because I had my clicker out, I'm being fair, I'm being honest. No grade. Xia Li making her TNA debut. All right, she gets a squash match win already. I'm more into her than I ever was whenever she was in WWE. I like the way she looked. Even though this was a squash match, I'm interested to see what she can do in TNA. Going C+. Alexander promo trying to swerve us into thinking he changed to be a good guy. Eric Young comes out. Nah. He didn't change. He's still a bad guy, but he did a good job in trying to convince us. Overall, good segment. Going B. Zaya Brookside, Heather Reckless with the win with the Swanton Bomb. B-. Number one contenders match, Kaz and Joe Hendry. We'll break this down pretty hard here. The winner to face Nick Nemeth for the title at Bound for Glory next month. This was an okay match. Kaz gets the mic in the middle of the match, though. Not a fan of that. Overall, not bad, though. Cass with the brass knucks for the win. Except it wasn't. Nick Nemeth takes the brass knucks to the ref because he was over there on commentary. Then Santino comes out. Another ref comes out. This kind of stuff doesn't work for me, brother. No, sir. You do it now, then every other time a bad guy wins by cheating, they should have the match get restarted every time. Not how it works, man. That's like having instant replay. We're never going to have instant replay in wrestling because that's part of the damn story most of the time. And it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense, but I mean, I get it. They were trying to swerve us into thinking that Kaz was going to win, but after all that, match restarts. Hendry gets the win. I'm going B. Top 3 moments. Hendry becomes number 1 contender. Xia Li debuts as a TNA knockout, and Alexander tries to swerve us into thinking he was going to turn into a baby. Overall grade, C+. And our final show we're grading for the week, SmackDown from Oklahoma City. Right out of the gate, Randy Orton is back. Let's freaking go. Then we get Cody coming out Orton wants an explanation from Cody on why he's teaming up with Roman. Cody says, I'd rather be what I want to be here. Do I want to be a fool or do I want to be a coward? He doesn't want to be a coward, so I guess he'd rather be a fool because he's going to team up with Roman. Cody tells us why he trusts Roman. Want to get rid of the Rogue bloodline. It all made sense. He asks Randy if that's a problem with him. Randy says it's all good unless you make it a problem. Woo-wee! First indication that we are going to definitely get a program. Going to get us a good old program. A rivalry, a story, an angle from Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton at some point. Yes, there's going to be a title match between them two. What happens? Does Randy RKO him out of nowhere and turn back into a heel? Do we get a rivalry built on respect? I'm not sure. Very, very interested to see what happens with that. And I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. But this was the first planting of the seeds. We know WWE likes to long-term storytell. I loved it. Crowd chanting. Very strange here. They were chanting RKO, Cody, and OTC all at the same time. That was nuts, man. I'm not sure I've ever heard 3 chants that I've been able to audibly pick up what they're saying in all 3 chants at the same time. That was crazy. KO comes out, doesn't even get a word in. Bloodline then comes out. Looks clear to me, as I was alluding to earlier, we're going to get a mega baby faces, maybe, because we did see some dissension between Randy Orton and KO later, but going to get a mega baby faces group, Cody, Roman, Randy, KO against the Bloodline at War Games. Perhaps. Going to save the family stuff with the old Bloodline reuniting till maybe The Rock gets back involved. Set that up more towards Mania. Not sure. But this sets up a tag match. This opening segment does. Tag match for later on in the night. I like this a lot. Putting Randy in there with Cody, man, gives me hope for that feud at some point going B+. Nia and Jackson, Tiffany Stratton, the champ, and the money in the briefcase holder backstage. Nia playing mean and then nice is working very well. She put her hands on Tiffany's throat to then tells her it's all going to be okay. And my goodness, the look on Tiffany's face, so dynamic after that. I'm liking this angle a lot. Planting some real seeds now for Tiffany to turn on Nia and cash in the briefcase. Let's let that keep boiling. Let it keep building for another couple of months. I would not pay it off at Bad Blood. That'd be too soon. Maybe have Tiff cash in her at Survivor Series. If not, then I'd say Royal Rumble at the latest. But I don't know, man. They've done a great job of telling epic long tales the last few years, so who knows? WrestleMania? Never say never. Grade A- for that backstage. Women's number 1 contender match, Bayley and Naomi. I thought it was a good match. Always loved Naomi's gear. If you had a rear view after the commercial, I thought it was a little earlier. Fairly strong kick out by Bayley at 2. We do get some This Is Awesome chants at one point, about 3/4 of the arena. And I don't know if it was awesome, but it was good. But then they did botch a sunset flip into the turnbuckle. Bayley with the belly to Bayley a short time later. Elbow drop off the top for the win. Giving that a B. It was probably B+ territory until that botch at the end. Botchamania. Well, it wasn't Botchamania, just one botch. Andrade and Carmelo definitely getting the best of 7 here. Andrade up 3-2 coming into it. Well, it's 3-3 now. And this was probably, I don't know, I'd argue it's the best match they've had so far. Very, very good match. We got through 2 commercial breaks, some holy shit chants. And, man, you can tell Melo clearly getting more comfortable out there, and he should. He's wrestling the same guy all the time, but we get LA Knight interfering. Melo takes advantage, and we're 3-3, baby. I thought the roll-up was a little cheap, but it made perfect sense with LA Knight mocking Andrade. Said, you didn't really shake his hand. LA Knight didn't last week. Andrade kind of shook it for him, and then LA Knight mocking Andrade. Like, oh, I'll shake your hand now. Andrade wouldn't do it, left the ring. Loving all the dynamics here, giving that an A. Backstage, Randy and Kevin getting ready for their match. Cody tells Kevin they need to talk. KO says, now is not the time. I got to prepare. He gets a little pissy. Got a little pissy with Cody. And KO says he's going to go change into his ring gear. Randy says, KO doesn't want Cody to come out. But Randy says the Bloodline gets involved. Please come out and help us. Really great dynamics here. So, it's like, all right, if we are going to have that Mega Baby Faces versus the Bloodline at War Games, then, let's create a little dissension, see if all those guys can work together, and I think that's the route we're going here. Triple threat tag, A- if I didn't say that. Triple threat tag title vignette, good job by all 3 teams. I'm going B. In the main event, Team RKO versus Fatu and Solo. Orton slamming Fatu and Solo multiple times on the announce table before the break was great, man. The crowd popped big, and so did I, and I'll tell you why. Sure, maybe it's not the safest, but I love the fact that Randy did not bother clearing the monitors or anything out before he started slamming those guys on there. Just added so much realism to it. Made that spot pop. Bloodline took control during the break, though, but then a hot tag to Orton. Place goes nuts. Man, this is the most over Randy Orton has ever been as a baby face. He's usually better as a heel. But my goodness, the crowd is loving some Randy Orton right now, and I've always loved him. Yes, totally think he's better as a heel, but I love it when he's a babyface because then I can cheer him. I don't have to, when I go to the show, he's a heel. I'm like, I want to clap, but I know I'm going to try to put you over as a heel, so I'm going to boo you. I'm going to boo you, man. Oh my goodness. Cody getting involved. Ran into the ref. Bloodline takes advantage for the win. Good booking. A little bit predictable with interference, but, whatever. They're going to do everything they can. Keep making that Bloodline look strong. I liked it. Going B+. Match of the night, Melo and Andrade. Number 2 was the main event tag match. Promo, not really many promos, so I'm going to go backstage stuff here. Cody, KO, and Randy, and then Liv and Nia Jax. Top 3 overall from SmackDown. Randy Orton's return. Melo and Andrade match, and then the main event, SmackDown grade B+. Overall, for the week, promo-wise, I don't know. Promo-wise, it wasn't extremely strong. I don't know, maybe Liv, Dom, and Rhea, maybe that New Day backstage, or Drew, perhaps, Dynamite MVP, his debut, Alexander and Young. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite this week. What do you guys think? What was your favorite in the comments? Yeah, I don't know. I just really like the way you know what? This is going to be an oddball choice, but I really love the look on Tiffany Stratton's face and Nia Jax choking her. I'm going to go that. I know it's probably not the popular choice. You're probably saying, yeah, okay, dummy. That's not right. I don't care. That's my pick. Match-wise, going Jey Uso, Braun Breaker, Jay winning the title, A+. The AEW tag title match, I'm going A. Carmelo and Andrade, A. John Moxley, Darby Allin, A-. That's 4 of them, in order. And then a couple honorable mentions, Damage Control and Unholy Union, and Sami Zayn and Kaiser. The top matches of the week, and that brings us to the top 3 moments of the week, plus a few more. Let's just go down. We're going to go down here. We got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 7 moments. At number 7, I got Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness for a B+. MVP debuts, B+. Strowman and Reed brawl with each other and destroying security. I'm going A. Hook retires the FTW belt. I'm going A. Randy Orton's return. A. AEW. Yeah, well, I'm going to put Orton at number 2, actually. AEW. No. Leave it in order, dummy. Leave it in order. Randy Orton return 3. AEW tag title match 2 with an A. And then Jey Uso win that Intercontinental Championship. I'm going A+. That's my favorite moments of the week. Let me know yours in the comments. Show rankings. Dynamite number 1. Yeah, it was Grand Slam. I really loved Raw. If I had to break the tie, I guess I'll say Dynamite. I really loved Raw. They were really about equal. I'm going to tie between Dynamite and Raw. I am going to take the cop out, the easy way out, at least on one of these things. Come on, guys. Come on. SmackDown B+. At number 3, TNA C+ at number 4, and NXT D+ at number 5. Sorry, no Rampage, no Collision this week. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to have time to get into my top 10 here. We're going really long. I'm going to have to cut down on some of my notes throughout the week. But I appreciate you guys being on here. If you do want to check out my top 10, you can check that out. TheTopRopePodcast.com. Let me know who's in your top 10. I'll at least give you number 1 right now. I got Roman Reigns on the men's side with Cody number 2. On the women's side, I got Rhea Ripley number 1 with Liv Morgan number 2. Factions kind of up in the air right now. Tag teams about the same. And that will do it. Thank you guys very much for watching this weekly edition of the Top Rope Podcast. Yeah, God bless.